this is Governor Bobber. I like good day, doctors.
George Allen here. Good day, doctors.
Good Friday evening, everyone. It is Dr. Possum Political Architect Show. Dr. Thornton's on assignment, so it's just Don and Dwight this evening. Welcome, everyone. It's been a busy week this week. I mean, we've had a lot of stuff going on. Everything from the war in Ukraine is still going along. And we've got a lot of fun stuff happening. I wonder if the Russian general in charge of the Ukraine operation was anyways related to General McClellan, who basically told President Lincoln, "Oh, this little civil war will be done in a few days."
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine? I mean, we're 2 weeks away from hitting 100 days. Unbelievable.
Yeah. And it's just crazy how it's gotten to the point where that we've got a number of folks, that, are still, being apologists from Moscow. It's been, it's like you think now it's starting to look like a quagmire for Putin and the Russians, frankly, right now.
Yeah,
I don't think anything can get. I mean, it's like I tell you, as soon as I tell you this, if the Ukrainians are able to expel the Russians fully out of Ukraine, including the eastern portion in Crimea, that will be a big black eye to Putin and the Russians, and I think it'll be a good day for democracy, but. I think we're a long ways from that, but I think it is one of those points where I think it does, it will eventually, I think the Russians will capitulate and leave, trying to hold on to their eastern provinces that they've stolen before, prior to this.
Though it seems that the Russians now have the New York Times on their side in the sense of they had an editorial that said that they recommended that Zelensky cede territory to the Russians. I'm like, what is wrong with these people?
I agree. It's like, why is it that you need to, why does anybody need to be shills, like for the Russians, they're clearly the bad guys in this whole thing. And you've got, I must say, I did not think I'd have more fun with the new White House spokesperson, but I tell you, she's just as entertaining as Jen Psaki. This is. I
try to look at these people, Republican or Democrat spokesmen, at least somewhat objectively. Was Jen Psaki great? No, but she was competent, especially when you're looking at Karine Jean-Pierre here, because right now, Psaki and Peter Doocy had a lot of back and forth. I mean, Doocy was kind of the kinder, gentler Jim Acosta type of person. He was a thorn in the side of the press secretary, but not as abrasive. I mean, by any.
Yeah.
And he was, and
he was also a kinder, gentler Sam Donaldson too, frankly.
Yeah, and Doocy actually complimented Psaki on her last day and everything like that. So I mean, they could agree to disagree. This thing with the Karine Jean-Pierre is just that it's just they came out with her, and she just listed off this whole long litany of things. It was like, I'm gay, I'm black, just kind of this whole long list of this thing, so that it was almost as if to make her somewhat bulletproof to attack from any side. And that was that her qualifications were built on her color, her sexuality, those
Mhm.
types of things, and not any real credible things, not any accomplishments she's really had. And she seems lost. She doesn't seem, compared to Jen Psaki, she really seems lost. And if I'm in the administration, I'd be a little bit worried about how long you can keep that woman, at the podium
Mhm.
for an administration that's already suffering.
I mean, this administration, it's like, what is it? This week, he made that bold statement. He's refusing to work with Republicans. Did I blink and miss it the time he worked with Republicans? Did I miss something? It's like, was he? I didn't realize he was working with the Republicans at all. He basically goes on about how we're not going to work with the Republicans. We're in election mode now. Good news for Joe is like, nobody wants him around campaign with him.
Well,
I mean, how did they?
I mean, you're right. You're just mentioning this thing about working together, and every time this subject comes up in my mind, I just go back to Barack Obama, who preached this whole thing about taking both sides of the aisle and bringing them together and doing this thing.
Yep.
And to me, that divide got wider under Obama. We got more polarized, and it has never healed.
Yeah.
And Biden is only making that divide wider. I mean, you can say that in a lot of ways, really, that Trump didn't do anything to bridge any of that gap. But I don't think Trump didn't come in and say he was going to do it, right? I mean, Obama said he was going to do it and didn't do it. You got a Biden who's kind of trying to be Obama-like, and want to do the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, and here's the thing: they're all really trying to be George W. Bush, who came in as a uniter, not a divider. He did make sincere efforts to work with the Democrats. Unfortunately, Tom Daschle and the Democrats had another intention, another path they wanted to pursue, and that was block, and prevent the president from getting any achievements done in his first 2 years. And as a result, the Republicans took the Senate back in 2002 and increased their numbers in the House. And that's when we started seeing some real progress and real improvements to the overall state of the country. And this was even after 9/11. You had unity with the Democrats for maybe a few weeks, and then all of a sudden it's back to business as usual in Washington.
Yeah, that's largely true. That, I mean, we unified under 9/11 with our country being under attack, but that did not have any long-lasting effects because politics came back in and started
with a vengeance,
started to drive things away again. And the Democrats just do this over and over again. I mean, even with this, with the current White House, spokesperson, as I was saying earlier about this whole built around all her sexuality or the color of her skin, it's as if the administration is basically saying, if you dare criticize her for anything, you jump on her, we're going to come out and we're going to call you, racist. We're going to call you misogynistic, whatever, boom, boom, boom down the line, because, she represents a little bit of everything and you can't attack her. And it's almost like they purposely put her there so that, they would get a little bit of a buffer or at least some breathing room to try to defend themselves. But, I was asked a question yesterday on a radio show by a guy who writes for Breitbart. And I think actually he made a good comment that, if you're a journalist, the way the White House has gone about doing this by putting her there in this position where she's really not very well prepared, not very well qualified for that, is that not an insult to journalists, even the liberal journalists, that they can't find somebody competent to put in there that where the liberal, not that the liberals are going to ask her tough questions, but if they ask her almost any question, will she really have a decent answer? I mean, we know that Joe Biden can't figure things out, but you at least should have a spokesperson to defend, the administration somewhat reasonably. But we see this, they're having trouble throughout their administration. I mean, Deb Haaland from Interior, she can't answer questions about oil and gas leasing and what the Biden energy policy is. It's like, I'm not an economist. It's like, Well, nobody said you were an economist, but that wasn't the question. The question is, really, it's like, why with high gas prices are you canceling, by the administration canceling oil and gas leases on federal land? It's like they won't answer the question straightforward.
And here's something funny. I remember the last time when the price of gas went up, it was during Bush 43's term, right the after 9/11, the price, you had the liberals, and they were, oh, George W. Bush and Dick Cheney are both oil people. They want to, is this Joe Biden helping his son, who's an oil and gas man, for Burisma? I mean, is this helping the Biden family? I mean, where are those reporters questioning, all the ties? Oh, that's right. They're not real journalists. They're all a bunch of shows for the Democrat Party. They, I remember 60 Minutes did a thing on Halliburton and Dick Cheney and George W. Bush. They mentioned Halliburton, and they mentioned that movie Syriana, and they mentioned high price of oil over 500 times. And I guess, I don't know how long those segments are, 5-10 minute segments that they do on 60 Minutes. And they mentioned 9/11, the other mitigating factors that was causing for the price of gas to jump back then. No, it's like, because they're just shills for the Democrat Party. I mean, they are a mouthpiece these days. I mean, MSNBC, they actually do. Now, I believe Jen Psaki is going to be joining the happy crew at MSN. Oh, I should say the angry crew at MSNBC, because I don't think, here's the thing: when you watch Fox News, they seem happy. They enjoy their jobs. Over at MSNBC, you almost can sense the teeth grinding and anger spewing out of their ears about how mad and angry. I remember election night. It was 2014 when I think it was 2014. No, 2018 when the Democrats took back the House, and they were still whining about how how it's not, how it's not a big enough lead in the House that they don't have, and how, they were like, they can't be happy about. I mean, we celebrated, we took back the House, even though John Boehner was the Speaker. We were happy about that. I mean, it's not, these people just are angry, miserable individuals, frankly. And that is a sad case of what's happening to the modern Democrat Party. They are a party of angry people. I remember, Don, you probably remember this, back in the 90s when we were the angry white man party. The Democrat Party is the angry person party. They are, it doesn't matter what color you are, what race or ethnicity you are. If you're angry, you're a Democrat. It's the angry people's party, frankly.
Well, the Democrats don't have a lot to stand on these days, and so now, their campaign strategy really is built around emotional issues, right? I mean, they're thinking that this whole abortion issue with the impending Supreme Court decision is something that they can get people all riled up about. But I think polling shows that, when it comes down to an election year issue, that's down the list. You and I were talking before the show started. I mean, you quizzed a few people locally, and it's gas prices, it's inflation. Those are the things that matter to people. I mean, immigration probably matters more to people than abortion issues, right?
Yeah.
So
immigration, taxes, schools, that's all more important. That resonates higher with Democrats, Republicans, Independents than abortion. Abortion is only a small, narrow segment. I mean, I've seen these people, Democrats, angry Democrats on Facebook going, oh, a woman's right to choose is over. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's going back to the states. There's only 13 states that will most likely ban abortion altogether. You know what that means? You can move. That is the beauty of this country. If you don't like your state's policies, move to a state that allows for baby killing. I know they don't like hearing baby killing. They like the sanitized word of abortion. But why is that? I mean, is baby killing hitting too close to home for you people? And when you stop people on the street, and I mean, Montgomery County is a weird oddball case because, we got some of, as Jerry Cave once said, the dumbest smart people in the world, who have multiple PhDs and MBAs, but they're idiots when it comes to policy questions, and they don't seem to understand. They seem to be out of touch a lot. Democrats actually in general are out of touch. And when Democrats don't understand, imagine if we included the price of food in the inflation numbers. Just think where it would be. Inflation numbers would be. I went to Safeway and I went to Costco's. I don't know, Don, have you been to Costco's recently?
I was there the other day.
I went to Costco's, I think it was Monday or Tuesday this week. And I noticed there's a lot of shrinkflation happening also. The package of Oreo cookies used to be a larger pack. Now it's down to like a 12 pack. If you look at you can't find Clorox anywhere, by the way, at Costco's these days. There's still a lot of stuff you can't find that you normally would be able to find. And that's just because of, I think, combination of inflation and Bidenomics, frankly, with the supply chain. But even your bag of brownie bark, or what is it, brownie bark or brownie brittle?
Brownie brittle. There's two things I like, and I went after both of them the other day. And I bought I bought one bag of bark thins, which is like, when I brought it home, my wife goes, she goes, "This bag seems like smaller." Well, I said, the dimensions of the bag don't really change. The weight of the food inside of it does probably change, So I don't know what they weighed before, but I'm sure it's a little bit less of that particular product. And even after the sale price, it's still substantially higher than it was the last time they ran that through on the. I searched the entire Gaithersburg. I pretty much searched the entire Gaithersburg Costco, and I couldn't find the brownie brittle. It's supposed to be on sale, so I'm really mad right now.
Yeah, they didn't have it at the Wheaton one either. I looked at the Wheaton one.
It is supposed to be the buy one get one, right?
Yes.
So that tells me that maybe that's a supply chain problem. They plan to have it because they print those. They do they have to print the things. The flyers way in advance. They thought they were going to get it, and they don't have it because I'm like, I was going on all kinds of sections thinking like, where did they hide this stuff?
Yeah, well, they moved the Oreo cookies where they normally would keep the cookies to another part of the store. They had the wheat one. They have them now where they have the candies. Opposed to they used to have them like on the aisle where you're walking up past the sodas near the cereals that have the cookies. They shrunk the box of the Tate's cookies from Northampton. I think it's an overrated cookie. I know a lot of people like Tate's, but I think it's an overrated cookie, frankly.
Hey, I'm gonna, Mr. Local Everything. When you bring up cookies, I do need to ask you this question then. So there's a Baltimore cookie company, Otterbeins.
I've heard of it. Yeah, I haven't gone to that.
So I've never had a cookie. I'm on their email list because I was kind of curious about these guys. But I noticed that they sell in Sam's Club, a plastic, thing of them, and I'm thinking like, I need somebody to tell me whether or not these cookies are worth the price.
Actually, the best local cookies are Otis Spunkmeyer. You can buy them at Safeway. They come in a plastic tub, or they come in those red bags.
I've had, I think
it's Otis Spunkmeyer.
Otis Spunkmeyer. I know that I've had their muffins before. They do the cookies too.
Yeah, I think it's Otis. Oh.
I'm a big Grand Moss fan.
That's actually one of the. I tell you, it is actually not. It is what do you call it? It's not Otis Spunkmeyer. It is Otterbein.
So it was the one I'm asking you. This is the one I'm just asking about.
They're really good. You can buy them at Safeway. They're really good.
Okay, so they have a bunch. They have like some relatively small chocolate chip cookies in a plastic bin, and so if it's at Sam's Club, I figure it's got to be cheaper than buying it from Otterbeins, and everything like that.
And by the way, their sugar cookies are really good, and they've also got. I wouldn't bother with their oatmeal raisins, frankly. If you like chocolate chip, their chocolate chip cookies are really good. Their double chocolate chips are good too. I like their lemon and sugar cookies.
Well, I know how much you love Crumble, but because I'm going there tomorrow.
I am not a fan of Crumble. It's like so disappointing. It's very disappointing. It is.
They've got look. Those guys have got some brilliant marketing strategy though, because you know, I hate spending that kind of money on a cookie,
Mhm.
but they are the cook. I find the cookies are overall they're pretty darn good. If not everything's going to suit everybody, and they usually have like the sugar cookie and the chocolate chip cookie
Mhm.
are like their standard bears, and then they add like 3 or 4 others every week, and they change them. So like on Instagram, they show you every Monday morning what
Mhm.
they've got for the menu. So I am going to have to go back. I usually will only go there once every couple of months or whatever, and I was there last Saturday. I mean, I walked in at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning last week when they opened, and I
Mhm.
wasn't even first in line. I mean, there were other people picking up larger orders, and I'm like, it's
Yeah.
freaking 8 o'clock in the morning. What are these people doing ordering cookies? I was a little
Yeah.
surprised. But this week, the cookie that I'm going after is the molten lava cookie. So,
Is that it's molten lava cake, Domino cells?
yeah, molten lava cake, boy. I remember we had that on our cruise 7 years ago, and I've just
Mhm.
never gotten over that. It's like I gotta have.
Domino's has it for $5.99.
Yeah, you put molten lava in front of me, and like, yeah, that's a huge weakness.
I tell you, but best cookies, for the price and taste and everything. I actually do like Chips Ahoy's, but they're now like $6 for a bag, And I like the Chips Ahoy thin ones opposed to the regular ones. The thin ones, I don't know why the thin ones taste better. Maybe they're crispier because they're thinner.
So I found a way to get some cheaper goods, and I don't really know what's going on with this, but CVS, like at least once a month, if not twice a month, they'll
Mhm.
send me an email with either a $3 or a $4 coupon, and then
Mhm.
I load it to my electronic CVS card thing, and it's
Mhm.
good for almost anything except for like milk and cigarettes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, that means I can go into a CVS, and get $3 or $4 off of anything in the store, including cookies and chips and whatnot. You know,
Mhm.
I've gone in there. My wife likes Pringles potato
Yep.
chips,
Well, on sale
and
at Safeway
so
this week.
so a lot of times they're on sale 3 for $5. Okay, I
Yep.
go in there and I can walk out with 3 cans for $1.
Yeah.
Like I don't even understand why CVS is sending me this because I only buy enough to buy to use the coupon with more or
Yep.
less. So they're sending me a store coupon and I'm just using it. I'm not buying anything extra. You know,
Mhm.
I just bought $5 worth of retail stuff for $1 or whatever. There's no way you're making any money on me.
No, but what is they're making money on people like me who gets those coupons and just throw them away and don't bother. Just don't
Well,
bother with
the
them.
nice thing about this CVS, I will say this about their loyalty program. They've changed it for the better because before they had this weird system of
You got like 10 feet of tape after
well,
you.
yeah, right. You get the longest tape in the world from a retail store. But then you'd have to get to a certain level, certain amount of
Yep.
spending, and then they'd give you a percentage, like the 2% back. And then it was for a limited period of time. What I've noticed they've been doing now is like you make a $5 purchase, you earn 10 cents, and then you can load it right to your card, and it's good for like a month. So,
Mhm.
I can be in the store and I'm like, oh, because of previous purchase, like if I get, I'll earn like 2 cents on the dollar purchase of after I've used the coupon for the Pringles, but
Yep.
I've also got another 2 cents out of it. And these things just keep showing up when I check out on the in the self checkout. I'm like, okay, just keep using that. Just keep driving down the cost
Mhm.
of all this stuff. So, yeah, Young loves she loves like the Chips Ahoy stuff because she likes to dip everything in milk.
Mhm. I tell you those thin Chips Ahoy's. They got an oatmeal chocolate chip one that's really good for dipping in milk. And they used to make a slightly crispy, like a slightly, it'd have a tinge of burntness to it. And it actually, with chocolate chips, it actually does add to the taste. And I think it actually makes it taste better. Every now and then you get a bag that's been slightly overdone, not too much, not too little. It has a nice little taste to it. But on the topic of bargains and all that, I tell you, right now, Safeway, I think they've got the best in-store clipless coupon product. You just pull up the app in the store and you can just start adding whatever you need to add to it, and then you just automatically is applied when you go to the checkout.
Yeah, Giant does that. I mean, CVS has a bunch of stuff too that you could go ahead and do that. I mean, they've all learned to do that. Do you remember though? I mean, when Costco, you actually had to clip the coupon out of the book.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Right now it's all automatic. I mean, it saves so much time and everything of doing that.
Mm-hmm. And I think they're getting rid. Costco's, what is it? They're getting rid of something. I saw a sign they're not going to be doing this anymore. I forgot what it was. Maybe it's their senior hours they're not doing anymore. Yeah,
senior hours have been gone for a month.
Yeah, I know. I miss those though. I do miss those.
Yeah, even though you're not a senior, but you were getting in.
I identify as a senior. But I mean, we've had, with speaking of consumer price and all that, I've been kind of toying around with the idea of getting a more fuel efficient car, anticipating $6-7 gas. I tell you, good luck finding anything. There's nothing. There's no inventory out there. I looked at online. I looked at a Highlander hybrid, and I called the dealership up, and the price was okay, not great, but nope, sold. I go, can I special order one? Because in the old days, it used to be you could order a car, and they're like, well, there's be a wait, and I'm like, I think I would have to go out to the rural, like southern Pennsylvania or someplace, see if they have dealerships there that they might have a little bit larger inventory than say the big city ones, because people are going in and buying stuff, and this is Joe Biden's America, where we have a serious lack of stuff on the shelves. People can't buy cars. Price of housing is going up. And I think, I hate to be prophet of doom, but I do kind of see we're probably going to be in a recession come September.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible because we don't really know if the Federal Reserve and their policy making will do enough to cool inflation without tipping us into recession.
I think it's too little.
Joe Biden still thinks that that Putin is responsible for the inflation and things will get better. And it's like, what planet are you from?
Yeah, I mean, Joe Biden thinks Putin's also responsible for the lack of the fact that he can't find his ice cream in the stores. I mean, I was just the other day, I went into a Giant, and just for fun, I started taking pictures of some of the prices, of stuff. If you drink regular milk, I guess you're in a little bit of luck. Like a half gallon of regular milk is $2.79, right? But if you like drinking organic, $4.79 for a half gallon of organic milk. A gallon of milk is roughly about $5. I mean, it's funny. Cereal. I mean, this is just Czech cereal. $5, and it's only for a 12-ounce box.
That's the thing. It's like the thing. Look, I have been attuned to try to bargain shop and try to find the best deals I can for decades. But I realize there are a lot of people who don't have the luxury of being able to get to the Costco, Sam's, or now the Aldi and Lidl and places like that, so that they are going to be more subject to paying, full price. People in the inner cities that, the best you can do is a 7-Eleven, which are, all the high markups or something like that.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, the best bargain at Giant was Entenmann's mini cakes. Buy one, get one free, $5.29. And you get another box for free, which is not great. I mean, but if you compare that to the Little Bites, little muffins, $5.49, and I think you get like 4 muffins in those little mini packs. They put, I think they put 4 or 5 pouches in there, that at least they used to. But I mean, I used to buy those things all the time for my mother. Yeah. My mother just lived off of those for a long period of time until we found a cheaper imitation at Aldi. She never knew the difference in her older age. They looked like muffins. They tasted like muffins. But I mean, I think the retail price of those, if you go back, 5-6 years ago for those, it was about $3.69 to $3.89. So you can see the inflation effect
which is all coming lately. Not, it wasn't like that a few years ago. The price increases have been really steep. I mean, I was just young. She wanted to make this last minute trip to Utah, and but she wanted to drop by the Asian grocery store, the Lotte, because there was something on sale that wasn't on sale before, and so she wanted to stock up. And so, as we walk by, the rice is right near the checkout area. I'm looking over there, and for the 25 plus pound bags of rice, and I think the cheapest bag of rice in that pile was like $37. A few months ago, that was $25 to $29.
I mean, you used to be able to get a bag of basmati rice, like a 10-pound bag, for about less than $10. And this is a few years ago. Now like a 10-pound bag is almost like $20, 20 or more.
And I think I mentioned previously on this show, about she was trying to find jasmine rice at Costco, and it was really hard to find. So when she did find it, she bought 3 bags.
Yeah.
For which I'm sure they sell for more now, if there's even available, than they did when she bought it a month ago.
I tell you, maybe the thing. Okay, we have the luxury of having ample storage space. I can store stuff. Like that stuff rice doesn't go bad. Grains don't go bad. Flour doesn't go bad. If you store it properly, right?
Right.
But the people that are living like that can't afford to buy those large in bulk type stuff, those are the people that are hurting the most, and those are the people who the Democrats always claim they're fighting for. How is that $15 minimum wage working out for you? How far is that taking you now? I know they all are very happy that they got $15 minimum wage for in Biden's inflation. $15 doesn't go nearly as far as $15 used to go in the Trump administration.
Right, and look, I mean, we're seeing that problem. We saw that this week. With Walmart and Target is finally catching up to them. Lots of factors going on there, but both of those retailers, along with a bunch of others, they raised their starting pay, right? Over the last couple of years to attract employees, retain employees, and things like that. But that, in conjunction with higher fuel prices, transportation prices, and things like that, kind of they squeeze their margins. And when they announced their earnings, last few days, their stocks tanked like the biggest one-day drops in like 35 years for these stocks. And they're not going anywhere. They're not going bankrupt or anything like that.
Yeah,
they'll get the ship righted eventually, at least in terms of some of this. But they still have that great unknown, particularly with transportation costs, because this administration is doing nothing to figure out what they have to do to bring down gas prices. It goes back to oil and gas leases and a bunch of other things.
And,
they're so hypocritical, right? I mean, they do all this stuff, and they said they want to fight. They want to fight for they want to get lower gas prices.
Fight for 15. Remember that? That was their $15 that they're going to have to pay for gas. They're going to have to work like 8 hours a day just to fill their tanks up with gas. And that's still not going to be enough. It's just right now, this is an industry that came in. They decided we're going to kill the XL pipeline. No more drilling in Anwar. It's like we were energy independent in 2020, in November of 2020. We were energy independent as a country. This guy has, and something, even if he brings it back, it's going to take 2 years to bring everything back online. You can't, it's not like a magic wand and things. But I tell you this, if he were to say, we're going to start drilling, drill here, drill now, drill everywhere. If we were going to start drilling, if we're going to use basically get started on the pipeline again, that would drive the oil price futures down, which would have the price slowly start coming down at the pumps. But here's the thing, with this administration, high price of gas is Al Gore and the leftists like Elizabeth Warren. It's their utopia where it's too expensive for people to drive their cars, so they will be forced to take the bus or bicycle everywhere, like every proper socialist country around the world.
Yeah,
And
I'm trying to. I want to do some research on this because this idea struck me the other day that the Biden administration is making this very big push towards getting rid of fossil fuels. You want electrification, by 2035 to 2050.
yeah.
They want they want as many electric vehicles on the roads as possible. And that's all well and fine if you can figure out how to line up all your charging stations. But and they give, when what was it, the first 200,000 cars that are sold every model, you get your tax break and everything like this. But I was thinking, that the transportation trust funds, are financed by taxes on fuel, right? So if you start switching people over to electric, are you then going to have a separate levy for everybody who owns an electric car to try to make up for that exactly? And what will that be? Because you're losing all these taxes on the fuel.
Well,
It's no longer being pumped.
and having all these electric cars, I mean, California already is telling people do not fully charge your electric cars because, well, we don't have enough energy. California systematically shut down all their nuclear power plants. They decided they wanted to invest in this whole green energy nonsense. This goes back to the days of Greyout Davis, the recalled governor of California. California, it used to be the utopia. Everybody wanted to go to California, and how's that California working out for everyone now? I'm guilty of that. I wanted to move to Anaheim, work for the Orange County Republican Party, and because Anaheim was one of the most Republican counties in America, maybe the most Republican county in America. I mean, it's a pale imitation of what it once was, Anaheim, as well as the rest of California. You don't see California is pretty much, if it were a country, it'd be a third world country. I mean, they've got brownouts during the day, like it is in many third world countries where, they got to cut power to the villagers and people like that so they can have enough energy for the shop owners and business people in the cities to have their electricity. I mean, that is where California, I think there is no reason why anybody would want to move to California. I think California might be ready for a real right of center Republican governor at some point in the next 12 years, frankly. I don't see it happening right now, but who knows,
Well, I mean, obviously their population was shrinking because they lost a congressional seat.
Yeah.
So that ought to be a warning to them. I mean, it's possible. It's possible we could get another Republican governor at some point in time in California because politics may be shifting. Particularly, I mean, the loony left here, these liberals, this idea about all this electrification is just like they keep trying to tell people it's like we've got all the sun and all the wind we'll ever need to generate energy in this country, and that's not true.
No, it's not. It is not at all. And it's just it's unless you could have members of Congress talking behind your car, that's the only way you're going to get enough hot air to push your car. I remember back in I guess it was the 80s, Shell. I don't know if you remember. Shell used to have these auto care books. Their commercial was also "Come to Shell for Answers." They had this one guy. He had a
answer man or something like that, right?
Yeah, they had a guy that he put a giant boat sail on his car to save. And the guy, the gas, he goes, "Yeah, we have no problems until we get to until we get to a tunnel. That's when we kind of lose."
Didn't they have those little booklets?
Yes, they did. I actually, after my dad passed away, we were going through the den. I think I found a stack of like this high, and I'm like, "What is he doing?"
It's amazing how much we have changed over time with all this.
I tell you, he also had like a stack of AAA, tour books. AAA used to
like those triptych things that you could get.
Oh yeah, that too. These were like little books where they were by each state. Would give you a rating of all the hotels and stuff like that and restaurants. And it was basically AAA approved restaurant. That was a big thing, I guess, back in the days. Hotels and restaurants would get the AAA approval. And
So if you asked a teenager today, about, give me a road map, what are they going to say? You mean my Apple map, my Waze, my
Yeah.
Google map,
Yeah.
a physical road map, or the old Thomas maps, the books that used to be sold here,
Yep.
who uses that anymore? I mean, can you even find anything like that anymore anywhere?
It's funny. My dad had a whole box of those too, and maps. Like I think he had every state map the conceivable.
Yeah,
And
we had a bunch when I was growing up. I mean,
AAA used to give away free
I
maps
was
if
going to
you're.
say, does AAA still have that if you go to their office?
I don't know. I should drop by because I am actually a AAA member. Which I don't know why I'm a AAA member as well as I've got roadside assistance from my insurance company. It's like I guess I may have done it because the AAA was giving something away to join. So.
Yeah, I mean, I just do my roadside with USAA, which I haven't had to use for a long, long time, but it was far cheaper than paying for AAA.
Yeah, I mean, I just find it funny that there's people that actually don't have roadside assistance, and I mean, these are like people with means and are up there in years, and they call people up, ask for jumps, when they're stuck outside, they're stuck somewhere, and I'm like, don't you have roadside assistance or AAA? It's like I'm going my way to a meeting. Sure, I'll come on out and I'll give you a jump, but come on, I know you can afford roadside assistance on your insurance.
It's so that is so cheap because I don't think it's very heavily used. So it's it's easy for them to provide that. I mean, USAA, it's just a third party that they use, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. It's like that way with Geico, and I think everyone else is like Geico, and you name the insurance, or But it's and that's the other thing that's going to happen. That's the other thing we haven't seen this yet, but as things go up, and we saw this in the Carter years, people will make sacrifices. People will choose: do I want to pay for food this month, or do I want to pay my auto insurance? Or do I want to pay my mortgage? Well, I don't know. Is auto insurance? Auto insurance is not as much as a mortgage, but it's like, do I want to put gas in my car, or do I? It's like we're going to start seeing people let their auto insurance lapse, and that's not a pretty thing if you get hit by somebody that's uninsured. As one who got hit,
you can't register a car in Maryland without it. You can try to get away with it, but you get caught, you're going to get a heavy fine.
Well, this is what I've been told. What they do is they'll get the bare minimum insurance for 30 days when they go to the registration, and then unless they it's like the odds of you getting, only time that would happen is if you got pulled over for something else and they check the insurance, and that's when they'd find out. And there's a lot of people, a lot of I'll say it, illegal aliens that do that. They get their cars registered and they drive around without auto insurance. They get into accidents and they basically scurry away in an ambulance, and get free healthcare.
Yeah, I mean that's why, I mean, the rest of us, we definitely need to be fully insured and make sure we've got coverage, because you don't know what happens with the other party, and you don't want to find out that somebody's been kind of underinsured and you don't have enough money to take care of either medical expenses or the repairs on the car.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always, we're built around a lot of things where it's peace of mind that we're paying for, but it's worth it. But you're right, Dwight. I mean, in terms of I think they're already starting to make decisions. You mentioned some of the basics, and you also mentioned earlier the vacation issue. People they're looking now at the summer and they're saying, we're not going to do this or we're not going to do that because of the high price of gas, food. And if people are living longer, so we have a lot of elderly people who thought they had enough money to live on for the rest of their life. But now they're not sure, because no one knows for sure exactly how long this inflationary period lasts. And when you've got 8% inflation, it's eating away at you really big time. I mean, I think we're all noticing that. I mean, I'm sitting at home, I'm like, in essence, because I make less money than I did 5 years ago. I think I'm kind of like a guy on a fixed income that could even go lower at some point. Like, I told Young, I says, I think we need to start just being more judicious. We're going to have to watch what we spend. We can't just go into certain things anymore, and so we're just going to have to watch it because in the old day, look, in the old days, my discretionary thing would if I saw those bark thins, I'd buy like 4 bags. I bought one. Okay, and that may be the last time
I can't find them.
it may be the last time I buy those for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, I've always kind of been that way. My dad and my granddad was always saying, like, "Can you buy? If you can afford 3 of them, then you can buy one of those." It never, but it does make sense if you can afford to buy. Like if I could afford to buy 3 iPhones, I'll buy a new iPhone. It just means I've got the extra money to, if say, whatever, it's not going to break me, And I mean, I was always raised with the mentality of spend 20% and save 80%. And that does come in handy. And the fact is, I've stopped. I mean, ever since I've started losing weight, I just stopped eating out as much, and that's actually helped a lot with the weight loss side of things. Because
Sure.
you're not getting all the saturated stuff and the sodiums and all that when you eat out. But I tell you, and so I still got like once or twice a month. But I tell you, it's getting steep. I mean, the other night James almost had a heart attack when he saw the bill from the Indian restaurant when you did the fundraiser for Asian American Pacific Islander Month last Monday. $600.
Wow.
Good news is we made 1,200. We
You got
made
some
1,200.
sponsorships and things, I guess.
No, basically, we just had a lot of people that bought tickets that didn't show up. And remember when it's like $25, it's not. It is like people. It's $25. I'm not going to drive all because it was also we had that thunderstorm earlier in the afternoon. So some people decided not to drive in storms and some of that. So it all works out, but I mean, it's still that's a lot.
I'll say one thing about your campaign is because you decided you're trying to get to that public financing thing.
Yeah,
you've made your campaign events the most affordable events I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. And that makes a big difference to a lot of people. I think you can get people to do that. And people, if people pay $25 and they decide they can't make it, they're not going to be as concerned about that. If they had plunked up 75 to 100, that would be a different thing for them. But then still, there's limited dollars going around for a lot of these things. So it's like, it
looks like we're having a decent turnout tomorrow night for the Ehrlich event, and it's like where else in Maryland can you go see Governor Ehrlich, get a copy of his book for $50? I think when the state party did, it was $150 to get a picture and a book with the governor. My event, $50 you get a book, because it's matched 4 times. And here's the thing: we're around like 14 grand right now. We need to get to 20 by the end of June. If we don't get to 20 grand, we'll be shifting gears and going the other way. Charging the $7,500 and so on. But I like to think, our campaign team is agile and flexible enough to kind of make these changes as we go. And I mean, the fact that we've raised this much, I mean, we're doing really well. We've got more highly visible campaigns in the county right now. I've just put in an order for my yard signs. So I'll have a whole bunch of those coming in. And then we've got, I got my palm cards. I need to get over to headquarters to drop them off for them. But we've got, and here's the thing, you need to show the Republican flag in the county. I hate to say, win, lose, or draw. And let me tell you, this is the year. If we can't win this year, well, we'll continue, we got to continue to fight. But this is particularly going to be a good year, even in Montgomery County. But here's the thing. Even if we fail in Montgomery County, but if we prevent the Democrats from spending money in, say, Baltimore County, Anne Arundel County, Howard County, Harford County, it's a win. We all win, if we can keep I ran against, what's his name? Will Smith. He did I want to say he did like a $50,000 mailing against me as a well-funded Republican who moved into District 20 to do the bidding of the governor, And
right. I mean, that's so true, though. It's like it's not necessarily because of the voter registration is so lopsided about winning, but it is about making the Democrats spend money
Mhm.
and focus on these things so they can't go and dump their money elsewhere, you know. And
Like,
so
I don't want these guys to take their money and spend it against Mike Huff in Frederick County because he's going to win there. I'd rather keep them on their toes in our county, frankly.
Yeah, no, that's a good strategy, counter strategy for the to fight these guys.
Yeah, and we've got what do you call? We've got a bunch of stuff. Today, you saw the judge. What is it? Title 43.
42.
42. Yeah. Basically, Biden's not going to be able to get rid of it as quickly as he thought he was, which is great.
Yeah, I mean they keep losing this battle on Title 42, and which a lot of Democrats don't want him to lift it to begin with because
a lot of those moderate
those on the border states, they know what's going on. They hate to admit it, but they know what's going on.
I mean, what is it, Henry Cuellar? Yeah, he doesn't want it removed. I mean, did he win his primary against AOC Spawn? That I don't even know if he won the primary or not.
I think he might have done that, but
And then we've got what do you call? We've got. I mean, the stock market has been tanking. I just have not been looking at it. James every now and then he goes, "Hey, you see what the stock market is doing today?" I don't want to see what it's doing today. I don't want to look at anything until the next quarter, frankly.
Everybody knows that what ran ahead of itself. Now it's taken some steps backward, but it's kind of that cleansing process that at some point we'll hit we'll kind of get to a bottom before we build it back up, and then it will be even better than it was, 3 or 4 months ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I remember the big crash of 2008 when the stock went below 5,000. I want to say, is that where it was, or around 4,000? And I kind of saw that as a buying bonanza, and I bought a whole bunch of stocks then.
Look, I mean, to me, things get irrational. I mean, I had mentioned earlier about the big drop in Target stock and Walmart stock. They had dropped off. Ross stores had, and Kohl's also fell. TJ Maxx bucked the trend. But Costco, which hasn't, they don't have any earnings announcement yet, they have that stock now is off about a third. And then, it was it pricey? Absolutely. Does it deserve the valuation that it has today? No, because the stock was falling in sympathy with Target and Walmart. But Costco, you and I are regulars there. That store is nothing. You cannot compare it to the Walmart and the Target. They operate in a different sphere, and they are the best merchandisers in the country around. The traffic, even with inflation, people are still in there. And
I know, and I'm still having a hard time finding parking at Costco. If I don't go there by 9:30 when they open up. But I'm sorry. Speaking of that. Everyone doesn't need to go to Costco's every single day. I'm sorry. You don't need to, when I go there, just stay home that day. I usually go there on a Tuesday or Thursday. Just stay home.
Yeah, please send a message out. Dwight's coming. You please stay home.
Exactly. It's like, you don't need to be in the store the same time I'm there. It's like, do something more productive with your time than going to Costco's. Let me go get through the, the self-checkout, and, I'm usually out in 10, 15 minutes. So, just give me between 10 and 11 a.m. Just don't come between those hours, frankly. Or actually, this past week when I went, it was around like 12. And definitely don't want to come there, If you come there, just have their pizza outside, hang out, have their food at the store. Don't go into the aisles and all that.
Because my experience, if I look at it, it's just anecdotal. It's just having gone to Costco at the get-go, right? At the beginning when they open, and I've been there in mid-afternoon and late afternoon. There are those periods like in the middle of the day-ish kind of a thing like that, or early afternoon. where the foot traffic dies down. There's not as many people in the store.
I found around 5 o'clock, it's not that bad. If you go after 5 p.m., it's not too bad.
Yeah, as they get closer to closing, definitely not as many people there. So they do have their ebbs and their flows, but but there is something about human nature about Costco is that everybody wants to be there at 10 o'clock, Monday through Friday when they open, or 9:30 on a Saturday or whatever.
Yep.
And at least at the one in Gaithersburg, it's like 75% of those that are there at the get-go are Asian.
Yep. Early to bed, early to rise, gets
something
to
like
Costco.
that. And they're all masked up. They're wearing gloves.
Yeah. And you know what I wish Costco would get rid of, and it's nothing. And I really don't care about disease and COVID, all that. But get rid of your damn samples. That just slows the flow of traffic. You have people that are gawking and eating and asking stupid questions. Oh, is this good? And then they have these little small talks. Oh, this is really good. What can I use this in? It's like, it's called YouTube. Go find it. You go home and look it on YouTube to find out.
They brought those back for two reasons. One, that they know that people like them, and it does drive some extra sales to things, because not everything they sample is on sale, right? So they get full price, basically their full price for a lot of those items.
Yeah.
Now, when the samples were gone, my granddaughter was very disappointed. She for some reason at the age of like 2, she was like, I want samples.
Yeah.
Now tomorrow, nationwide at Sam's Club is sample day, and it's double sample day. Apparently, according to the news report I read, is that they're going to have like 18 or more sample stations at Sam's Clubs everywhere across the country, all serving the same thing. And and it won't start until 11:30. All I know is from going to the Gaithersburg Sam's Club on a Saturday, it's a zoo. Most of the time at Sam's Club, not too bad.
Well, I like there's one thing.
On Saturday it's horrible, and the store is a lot more cramped than Costco. So it just feels like, I hate being there.
Yeah, and one thing about Sam's is do they still have the check? You can buy stuff, pay for it on your phone app, and be out there without having to stand in line.
Scan and go.
That's really good. I like that.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, Sam's Club is.
Costco should bring that. Costco's really should think about bringing that, because I would definitely do that.
I will say this about one of the other differences between Sam's and Costco. At Costco, they check your stuff. They kind of do a cursory look of what you've got in your basket, your cart, and then mark it off. Sam's Club now, they used to do the same thing. Now at Sam's Club, because I think the clientele is so different. The Costco has that middle upper class group. And the Sam's Club is very much Walmart, kind of the middle lower kind of group. That when you leave a Sam's Club now, they scan the barcode on your receipt, and they scan several of the packages in your cart to see if it matches up. And if it matches up, then you're good to go. If it doesn't, they've got to look at it. So you want to talk about a line when there's a lot of people that gets slowed down. Is that you've got these people at the exit that are scanning multiple products to make sure it's kosher and then let you go. So,
that's why I don't think I'd ever join.
Experience.
That's why I don't think I'd ever join Sam's, just because I don't even like it in Costco's. They're pretty good at Costco's. They'll take it, they'll swipe it, you're gone. And by the way, it's actually very helpful, because sometimes they do catch something like, if you forget something like I forgot, because you have to, now they got the people there that help you at self-checkout, right? I forgot the pack of sodas at the because I lifted it to get it scanned, and I put it down. I didn't put it back in the cart. So I walk out, and the guy goes, "Where's your soda?" I'm like, "What do you mean sodas? It's in the cart." So I was, that I do like that, because they did, say, "Hey, I forgot my sodas," and although that was when sodas were cheap, So.
I will say, also for Costco, because I think compared to any other membership club or store, I I think, because we're members and we pay a membership fee,
Mhm.
it has got it's got like the lowest shrinkage rate
Mhm.
in the country for retail stores.
Mhm.
So, there's virtually no theft going on at Costco.
Yeah.
And I think this is because of the clientele, that because the people are in that middle upper class, they
Mhm.
understand that, you steal from them, it's going to cost you in the end, because that,
Mhm.
that'll come back to you in higher costs of the products, or it'll come back to you in a higher membership cost.
Mhm.
I don't, Young has noticed at Sam's Club they have lots of self-checkout, and that's probably
Yep.
why they're trying to be more diligent at the door now when you leave, is that they've seen people try to cheat on the self-checkout at Sam's, which one, obviously it's dishonest and annoys the heck out of me.
Mhm.
But
Yep.
two, you're costing everybody,
Yeah,
your
you're
membership fee will go up, or something else will go up, and everybody will be paying for it because you're trying to get away with a $5 something or other.
yeah. And it's interesting. Honestly, you're paying a membership. I mean, I like Costco because one, I think the stores are cleaner, things are better organized on the
And
shelves.
brighter. They're
Yeah.
brighter. I mean,
I've
they're
noticed
very
when
well.
I've gone to Sam's a couple of times. And one thing I've noticed at Sam's is everything is kind of like, when they have their clothing. It's not, if you go like in the morning, it's probably nice and laid out. But if you go like in that, it's all kind of scattered around. It's not well put together, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, Costco definitely assigns several people that go through there and then refold things
Hmm.
and get them and then put them back where they're supposed to be,
I did like I went
rather
to
than having them just. Yeah, at Sam's Club, it's like the old Filene's basement. People get there and they kind of start throwing things around, and
yes.
and then and then it never really, you're never really organized again. Yeah, Costco. I mean, I'll sing their praises for forever. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm 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 gonna buy some more. I'm gonna buy some more stock next week if it stays at the level it's at, because I
Yeah.
think it's really close to a bottom, and I'm like, it's definitely something that's a long haul type of the best retailer I've
Yeah.
known in the country
Hmm.
by far.
Yeah.
Hey, we're
And
over an hour, Dwight.
I know we're at final thoughts time. Why don't you start us off with final thoughts?
Okay. The Biden administration's government disinformation board is now on hold, and the woman who was going to run it has resigned, and she
Is
had
that
done
because she
that.
wants to write show tunes for shows
Yeah,
that
she
are on
did the
Broadway?
supercalifragilisticexpialidocious tune. I don't think that helped her a whole lot in the end, anyway. But I
Yeah.
mean, look, even liberals were criticizing this thing because, I mean, it just seems so, Orwellian or whatever. I mean, it was
Was
so
Mary Poppins
ridiculous
Rogers and Hammerstein?
to go through all of that. Yeah, you begin to wonder when somebody starts doing that. What exactly what are you expecting going on down the
Yeah,
line there with all of that?
I agree.
Elon Musk is continuing his battle with Twitter. Twitter says, they're
Mhm.
going to enforce, the agreement to purchase Twitter for $54.20. It's $1 billion breakup fee if Elon doesn't pull through here, and
Yeah.
he's making a pretty specious complaint about the bots, because the
Mhm.
bots, everybody in their world knows is that there's fake accounts on Twitter. They've had them from day one.
Yeah.
They're Are they really 15% or more? Probably not quite that high.
Mhm.
Elon was using the statistics gathered by another service that had a very broad definition of what the fake account was, and it wasn't necessarily all accounts that were really truly fake. So, he's dancing around a lot of things. So I never know where Elon is going with this. If he doesn't buy Twitter, that means Tesla stock goes back up, but he
Mhm.
still has, I mean, I could see him potentially trying to get out of that deal and pay the $1 billion breakup fee if he could at least break even on his Twitter purchase, but his
Mhm.
Tesla stock goes up more than $1 billion. Who knows? Elon is just, and then he's obviously under attack because, he's going to be more Republican, and so the liberals are all
See,
over
Don,
him.
I remember when Elon Musk was a hero of the left. They
Just like
all
just like Jeff Bezos was.
And I remember, and I'm old enough to know when Donald Trump was a hero of the left. I
Right.
mean, he
Yeah.
was on cover of Jet magazine. All the liberals wanted to hang out with him, and he was on Oprah, and then all of a sudden, so I like, as I used to tell my liberal friends, I go, when did he actually become this racist, horrible human? Was it when he was hanging out with Snoop Dogg and Oprah and Sugar Ray and getting awards from Jet magazine and and hanging out with Al Sharpton and Mike Tyson and those guys? Or when did this transition? When did he decide? When did he become this racist? And they had no answer. And basically, and I go, you won't say it, but I'll tell you what it was. When he became a Republican, that's when all of a sudden he became a racist. And that's the thing. If you're a Republican, you're a racist. They think the R means R is for racist, when it's not. It's R for Republican. But these Democrats,
Yeah, I mean, when Republicans switch to the liberal side, I mean, we do get upset and mad with them, but the level of vitriol and hatred doesn't compare to what the left does when it happens to them.
yeah. I mean, you remember was it David Brock, Eddie Brock? He runs Media Matters now. I mean, you and I are old enough to remember when he worked for Paul Weyrich at Free Congress Foundation.
Yeah.
The left hated him. I mean, then when he came out and became a lefty, everybody loved. All of a sudden, he was like this great, pious individual, But didn't you call him 6 months ago a neo-Nazi sympathizer and so on? And now all of a sudden, Brock is this great hero to the left. We did not canonize Richard Shelby. Richard Shelby was a Democrat and became a Republican. Ben Nighthorse. We didn't lionize those two guys. I mean, they were great on policy and so on, but we never lionized them and said, I mean, it's not like Richard Shelby's ACU rating went from, say, 60 to 100 when he switched parties. No, it went from, his rating was around in the 70s and it stayed in the 70s. And then it went up as he kind of became more and more in tune with Republican policy. Went up. I think he may have finished his career. Richard Shelby was almost close to 85% plus ratings with ACU, but that was like after several terms as a Republican. Ben Nighthorse Campbell, he's another one that he's consistently scored in the 60s and 70s, and he stayed in the 70s when he became a Republican. Republicans don't just go gaga over people. They switch parties, except we did. The only time I can think we really went gaga was we went crazy over Arnold Schwarzenegger when he ran for governor of California. All these conservative pundits, they were all like Sean Hannity, they were all supporting him, opposed to, we know the real conservatives. We had Tom McClintock running, and we had Bill Simon, the former candidate for governor in California. And I think that should have been, that's, those, we would have had a much better governor in California with a Governor McClintock or a Governor Simon, frankly.
Yeah, I mean, there was. I remember. I mean, I guess we were both going out to those Republican conventions at that time.
Yeah,
Schwarzenegger was out there, but yeah, it was a lot of that celebrity issue. Republicans were falling all over themselves on Schwarzenegger, and then once he won the election, it didn't take long for them for him to lose his luster. I mean, he was still coming to the state conventions and stuff like that, but the opposition was building against them because they were like, okay, so we elected a Republican, but we didn't elect a conservative.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if we wanted someone like this, we could have brought Pete Wilson back.
Yeah. I mean,
Pete Wilson was not as bad as Schwarzenegger was as a governor.
Exactly.
Pete Wilson was considered a rhino.
Pete Wilson, but boy, you take the two of them, you still would say, I'll take Pete Wilson any day.
Yeah. I mean, they're a long ways from having another Duke Majan as their governor, or Governor Reagan, but it's what do you call it? I heard Duke Majan was actually on George H.W. Bush's shortlist for VP. He would have been a phenomenal VP, actually, for the president. But any more final thoughts?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. Well, I'd like to say One, Ultra MAGA has come to join the fight against the evil Decepticrats. See, he's angry, he's ready to lower gas prices, because he does transform into a semi, uses diesel gasoline, obviously, so he understands the high price of gas. But that's, the long and short of the Democrat. This is what happens when you start naming things after Transformers, like Omicron, was a planet in the Transformers universe, I believe, and now you got Ultra MAGA, and then it's going to be Omega MAGA. Is that going to be the next thing? Or MAGA Supreme? Is that going to be the next one? Or MAGA Maximal? It's these guys are idiots, they do these one-liners. They think it's cute. They think they're so clever when they do this. And they're really not that clever, and they're really that smart on that stuff. But I will be continuing my diner tour next Friday. If anybody has recommendations on a good diner to visit, I was at the Silver Diner today. I'm thinking I might go to the Belly of the Beast and go to the Tasty Diner in downtown Bethesda, just to talk to the people there in the morning, buy people coffee and so on, I kind of like this. It's kind of a new brand of, like going to diners and stuff like that. It's a little different than what traditional, Republicans would do, So going to diners has been a lot of fun. And this is where you can talk to people, everyday issues, kitchen table issues, So the tour continues next Friday. And another final thought is
there's more. Well, I mean, you can go to a bunch of Silver Diners, right?
Yeah, I went to one by Micro Center this morning.
I mean, there's one in Rio, right?
Yes, there's one there. There's also one up by that is the one by Rio. Let's see. There's a Tasty Diner in downtown Bethesda. There's one in downtown Silver Spring. I might actually have to include IHOPs on my breakfast tours. But I'm going to say the original House of Pancakes so much better than IHOP. IHOP is just, I don't know. IHOP just seems cheap. I like their food and so on, but I mean, it seems a little cheap. As in, wow, original House of Pancakes, they got the nice padded booths and stuff like that. They got chairs that are nicer and stuff like that. Little things like that. But so the campaign trail tomorrow night, I've got an event with Bob Ehrlich. Governor Ehrlich is doing a fundraiser for me in downtown Bethesda, over in Bethesda tomorrow evening. And anybody wants to come, go to DwightPatelForMoco.com. We've got a few tickets left, literally a handful of tickets left for tomorrow night. And we've got also coming up, we've got a lot of fun stuff coming along. We're entering the summer months. And by the way, congratulations to everyone who graduates in the class of 2022. University of Maryland just had their graduation, and as did George Washington. Our own Jackie Saxton walked across the stage today at Georgetown University. Congratulations, Jackie, and congratulations to everyone else in the class of 2022. Good luck. And I hate to say it, you're going to need it, especially with in this economy right now. I thought when I graduated, the economy was bad. It's even worse. I think it's even worse than that. But hey, have you heard if Sid Kramer passed away? I heard rumors that Sid Kramer passed away. Do you know if that's true or not?
I don't know.
Yeah, somebody was told me that this morning. Well, I didn't realize he passed away. Somebody asked me, "Is there any Democrats you do like or ever agree with?" I go, Sid Kramer, and the guy goes, "Oh, that's the county executive that passed away," And it's it's fun.
May 16th, he died.
Yeah.
How about that?
I mean, Sid was actually one of those old style Democrats, frankly. He died May 16th, but he was an old style Democrat. Too bad. And his daughter was run out of the Democratic Party because she was too conservative for them. But his son, Ben.
He was 96 years old. That's amazing.
I know. His legacy will always be the revitalization of downtown Silver Spring. That was his big thing. And Today they had the services today at 11 a.m.
Hmm.
But I met Sid actually when I was in high school. I got an award from him for student government stuff. I think it may have been for the redesigning of the student parking lot we had. I redesigned it in a more efficient way so we got more cars in the parking lot. So I got an award from Sid Kramer for that. And I mean, he was a personable guy. I mean, he wasn't crazy as Democrats are today. He believed in business, a pro-business Democrat. What a novel concept, Don. Pro-business Democrat. And he didn't like raising taxes. He was a low tax guy. And I think the Democrats like Sid Kramer have gone the way of dinosaurs. And we'll miss you, Sid. Even though I'd never vote for you because you're a Democrat. But Sid, you're a Democrat that I had respect and admiration for. I think you were a good guy. Despite your party that ran you out, when you want to do is just make life better for people in Silver Spring, Neil Potter and the crazy greenies. And I think that's where Montgomery County took that hard left turn, was with Neil Potter, who is like this 100-year-old guy who decided to run for county executive and beat Sid Kramer in the primary in 1990. But and my final thoughts: price of gas is high. Marathon is one of your better places to get gas, and if you get their app, you get, I think, 5 cents off or something like that.
Right.
So Marathon gas stations, and yeah, it's like we got to tighten our belts a little bit, and this too shall pass. I mean, I think we'll take the Senate and we'll take the House back this November, and that'll be the beginning of a change. And then in 2024, we sent Joe Biden and Kamala Harris set them out to pasture in the world of retirement, frankly, and we can elect a President DeSantis or a President Pence or a President Trump or a President unknown Republican, but we will have a Republican president in 2024, frankly. And that's my final thoughts. Good night, everyone. We'll see you all next week.
All right.